exists, except the God that exists that created this universe and the multiverse, not in the Quran, not in the Torah, not in the Talmud, not in the Bible, not in the Sumerian tablets, not in the Egyptian Book of the Dead, not in the Mahabharata, not in the Bhagavad Gita, not in the Indian Vedas, not in the Epic of Atrahasis, not in the Epic of Gilgamesh. Not one of them is speaking about the creator of the universe, which is real. I acknowledge that. Matter of fact, so did the Anunnaki. They claimed to know that they were going to get in trouble for what they did on this planet by the creator of all, which tells you that they knew they weren't the creator of all, that there was somebody even above them, an entity, an energy, a life force of something above them that had a say-so, and they would have to find judgment one day. So they knew they weren't God, even though they masqueraded as God. They became the gods of the Torah and the Talmud and the Bible and the Quran and all these texts. The Elohim, which means plural, gods with an S.
So I was watching this video, and honestly, it was like a Bible name fire hose. He just threw out every name like he was trying to set a world record. But here's the thing, from a Christian mystic perspective, that kind of list or search actually misses the point. Let me explain. Whenever I hear these questions, who is the creator, there's this temptation to treat God like another being, just bigger, older, sitting on a cloud, holding a scepter, stroking his beard, or more powerful being. But in Christian mysticism, God is not a being that's out there. God is being itself. As the mystics say, God isn't contained by creation. Creation is contained within God. So the real question is, what if the awareness asking the question is already part of the very presence it seeks? Let's dive into that. Whenever I hear these questions, who is the creator, I notice that almost everyone begins with the same assumption, that God is another being somewhere. Maybe the biggest, the strongest, maybe the first being, maybe the most intelligent. But what if that assumption is the very thing preventing us from recognizing God? From a Christian mystic perspective, God is not an object inside the universe or outside the universe or located somewhere beyond the stars watching creation unfold from a distance. God is not a being. God is being itself. When Moses asked God's name, the answer wasn't, I'm Zeus, I'm the supreme entity. The answer was, I am. That statement is profound. Just think about that. It doesn't point to an individual among many individuals. It points to the very reality of existence itself. Everything exists, participates in that one infinite life. So like I've said before, nothing exists outside of the mind of God. Like when you dream at night, all the characters are played by yourself. You temporarily give yourself dissociative identity disorder. But you can't pluck one of those characters outside of your imagination and have them exist by their own right. None of us exist by our own right. We're all part of the divine. This idea that our entire existence is in God, that we're not separate spectators, but living, breathing participants in the divine life. And once we see that, the whole question of who is the creator shifts, because we realize that we are already held in that infinite reality. It's a really beautiful thing, and it's grounded in truth. Mysticism has always understood this differently than popular religion. God is not absent from creation. God is not contained by creation either. Creation exists within God, just as a wave cannot exist apart from the ocean. Neither can we exist apart from the infinite awareness, that is God, to put in religious terms. When we ask who created God, we're treating God as though he were another object requiring a cause. But if God is the timeless ground from which all causes arise, the question no longer applies. Time appears within God. Space appears within God. The universe appears within God. God does not appear within anything. This also changes how we understand ourselves. Jesus repeatedly pointed people inward. The kingdom of God is within you. Not because we are separate gods with independent existence, but because the life that looks through your eyes is the very same life that looks through my eyes. There are not billions of separate consciousness competing for existence. There is one divine life expressing itself through countless forms. Many windows, one light. Many waves, one ocean. Many persons, one awareness. This doesn't diminish God, it magnifies God beyond anything the mind can imagine. Instead of picturing an old man seated somewhere beyond the galaxy holding a scepter, mysticism invites us to discover that every breath, every moment of awareness, every experience of love, beauty, truth is already taking place within the presence of God. God isn't distant. God isn't absent. God isn't out there. Perhaps the better question isn't who is the creator. Perhaps it's what if the awareness asking the question is already part of the presence it seeks. I hope you found this interesting and enlightening. And until my next video, take care, my friends.